Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at Tamiya, the Japanese model giant, a brand that's just synonymous with quality, incredible precision.
Oh, absolutely. Fanatical precision, even.
Yeah.
I mean, remember the story about their engineers actually dismantling a real Porsche 911 Turbo in 1976.
Just for research for a model kit, it's wild.
It is. And that intense focus really defined their whole identity. Their brand was built on technical superiority. You saw it in their box art after 68 stark white, clinical looking.
Right, projecting this real air of confidence, like they were selling perfect miniature reality.
Exactly.
So, okay, here's the big question, the paradox, really. Why, in the mid-'80s, we're talking roughly 84 to 89, did this paragon of serious engineering introduce these cheerful characters? Plastic model Moko-Chan and Rabbi-Kun, her rabbit sidekick.
Yeah, it seems like a total curveball, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like an anomaly.
Well, it was, but it was a very calculated, strategic anomaly. Moko-Chan was basically Tamiya's ambassador of fun.
Fun from Tamiya.
Yeah. They realized their reputation, that precision focus, was actually pretty intimidating for newcomers, maybe even scaring people off.
Okay. That makes sense.
So they needed to sell the experience of modeling, the fun of it, not just the technical specs, especially, and this is key, after the Famicom console launched in '83.
The Nintendo Entertainment System over here.
Right.
Video games starting to compete for attention.
Precisely. They were worried about losing that next generation, pulling them away from traditional model building. Moko-Chan was meant to keep it relevant, make it seem accessible.
So it sounds like kind of pioneering brand humanization almost. Moko-Chan's smiling face basically saying, hey, don't worry, this modeling stuff, it's fun, it's easy.
That's exactly it. A friendly face.
Who was behind this? Like, who at Tamiya had this idea to soften the image?
It was actually developed internally. A Tamiya employee named Fujita Yukihisa. He was a manga artist working in their design department.
Oh, interesting. So an artist inside the company.
Yes. And just for clarity, because collectors sometimes get confused and sources are clear, this is not the same Fujita Yukihisa who's a prominent Japanese politician. Different guy entirely.
Good clarification. Okay, let's shift to her main job, education. Because she doesn't just a cute mascot, right? She was a teacher.
Absolutely. That was her core mission.
So how did they actually use her? Where would builders, encounter Moko-Chan?
The most common way was through these little 9-panel manga strips. Monochrome usually included a leaflet right inside Tamiya kits. They actually started those even earlier, around 1981.
9 panels, okay. And what's fascinating, you mentioned, is that the advice wasn't dumbed down despite the cartoony style.
Not at all. It was surprisingly sophisticated, which showed, I think, a lot of respect for the audience, even young builders.
Can you give an example, like how sophisticated?
Well, she'd teach techniques like carefully burning the tips of a paintbrush with a flame.
Whoa, really? Why?
To get a better stippling effect, for creating that rough, sort of hammered metal texture you see on tank armor sometimes. Pro-level stuff.
That is advanced. And I read something about using a steamed towel for decals.
Yeah, to help remove air bubbles from water slide decals. Like you said, that sounds like a real trade secret they were just giving away in a little comic strip.
Amazing. And they didn't just stop at these leaflets in the box, did they? They actually built it out.
They did. They published standalone guidebooks you could buy. Comprehensive ones, like Moko-Chan's Primal Construction Guidebook or the Painting Guidebook. It formed a whole curriculum, really.
A learning pathway. And they were thinking globally, too.
Yeah, Tamiya was ahead of the curve there. They even produced bilingual leaflets called RC Lecture by Moko-Chan, Japanese and English. Shows they saw an international market for this kind of detail hobby education pretty early on.
So Moko-Chan was clearly a thing for a while, but her visibility kind of faded, right? Say mid-90s.
It did decrease, yeah.
Yeah.
The hobby market was shifting. Video games like Pokemon really took off.
Right. And the anime industry changed too, didn't it? More pre-assembled figures?
Exactly. Pre-painted, pre-assembled figures became much more common. For a lot of kids, maybe the process of building wasn't the main draw anymore.
But she didn't just disappear. She developed this enduring cult status.
Oh, definitely. You see it in the collector's market. And Tamiya themselves have done tributes later on.
And the ultimate proof of that cult status has to be that recent kit, right? The 2022 one.
Ah, yes. The cast kit. Big 15 Moko-Chan. It's this high-end, unassembled, unpainted resin kit. A garage kit, basically.
1/5 scale. And aimed squarely at adult, expert-level modelers who grew up with her. I saw listings for that going for, what, over $1,200 US?
Easily. Which brings the whole story full circle, creating this wonderful irony.
How so?
Well, think about it. to properly build and finish this really premium, quite difficult model of Moko-Chan. The adult builder today probably needs to use the exact same advanced techniques, sophisticated painting, careful decal application that Moko-Chan herself first taught them in that little 9-panel leaflet all those years ago.
That's fantastic. So she taught the skills needed to eventually build herself.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It shows Moko-Chan and Rabbi-Kun were way more than just, a marketing gimmick. They were a serious educational initiative, an investment in creating the next generation of skilled hobbyists.
Well, a really thoughtful long-term strategy.
It really was. And, it raises an interesting question for you listening now. When you're facing information overload today or trying to learn some complex new skill, what kind of digital mascot or maybe just a friendly patient guide could actually teach you the advanced how-to stuff effectively without making you feel like it's patronizing your intelligence?
That's a really good question. What's the modern equivalent of Moko-Chan? Something to definitely think about.